There are a lot of opinions from influencers and doctors on the internet. And very often, people come to me and they ask me, should I believe this? Or better yet, who should I believe? And my question, believe your eyes. Welcome back to Heal Me with Chocolate, the podcast where we talk about food, health, and how different food affects health. If this is something you're passionate about, we invite you to our growing village. Buckle up and let's go. I want to record my reaction to a video that one of my cases sent me yesterday. And the video is in the link below, so you can check it out. But basically, there is a lady who says that whatever you eat that's sweet is gonna release insulin, so nothing is safe. You should just give up everything sweet from your life, and end of story. And there is the doctor who's recording the video, his reaction to her video saying, oh, well, but, if that was the case, then, everybody would be hypoglycemic and fainting. And, he brings up all of these different meta-analysis, which I don't know where he got from. And he essentially says, if you eat artificial sweeteners, not only you will not elicit the insulin response, but you actually will be healthier and lose weight. And so my case, the person who sent me this video, she was like, so who do I believe? What do I do? Who's right? And I watched the video and I said, well, this was very amusing, but they're both wrong. And they're both wrong because there is a nuance to things that she was saying originally and to the things he was saying as a reaction later. To address the elephant in the room, we had diet things, diet drinks, diet chips, diet everything that has different sugar alternatives for a good 5 decades, probably more. And if we were really losing weight eating 0-calorie sweeteners, we would probably live in a very different society than we live now. Society we live in, we are only 10% metabolically healthy people in the entire Western world, not just in the United States, but in the entire West. So all of the developed countries, 90% of people are metabolically unhealthy. They have some sort of metabolic dysfunction, which is characterized by 2 or more out of 5 hallmarks of metabolic syndrome, which is abdominal obesity, high blood pressure, high fasting blood sugar, high triglycerides, and low HDL or good cholesterol. So in 9 out of 10 people in the West, 2 or more of those parameters are out of whack, which is a definition of metabolic syndrome. Just 3 years ago, before COVID, we had 12% of metabolically healthy adults. Now we only have 10. So as you can see, the dynamics is not towards we have more sugar-free stuff, diet stuff, and we're getting healthier. Actually, quite the opposite. So let's take this video in a chronological order. So the lovely fitness influencer made a claim that whatever you eat that is sweet is gonna create an insulin response, which is one of the steps of developing the insulin resistance and eventually metabolic syndrome, and just do away with it. And she showed, it was actually ironic that she showed Stevia and monk fruit, and without giving the context that those products that she was showing in her video is indeed the ultra-processed products that we find on the shelves that literally do cause metabolic dysfunction, and they are detrimental. without really understanding that there are others that don't. So let's jump into that. So that bottle of stevia in her video, I have that at our chocolate factory as a educational prop when I'm teaching people how to read the label. And we already discussed 3 fun facts about stevia in the previous episode. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you to pause this video and go watch episode 4 when we talked about sweeteners and how natural plant-based sweeteners are different from artificial zero-calorie sweeteners. But just to recap, stevia is a plant, therefore green not white, 250 times sweeter than sugar, so it can't be used one-to-one as recommended on a package. And number 3, stevia is not water-soluble. Stevia, just like anything else green plant-based, has to have a vehicle of a delivery in the body and also in the thing that it's being dissolved in, and it's fat-soluble, not water-soluble. So what she showed in the reel that has stevia by Splenda, it is not in fact stevia. So what is it? If you look at the ingredients, if you see that in the store, I don't recommend you buying it. Please save your $5, $6, $7, wherever you're watching from. But if you see it, just out of curiosity, because I know you guys are very smart and you want to believe your eyes and not what everybody's telling you. So the ingredients of that would be dextrose with maltodextrin, Reb A, and natural flavors. There is nothing spelling stevia in there. Once again, stevia is a plant. You can Google it, you can look it up. It looks kind of sort of like mint. It's about same height, about same shape of the leaves, only it's not minty, it's very sweet. The compound that caused the sweetness is not a carbohydrate. It's actually sort of a fiber. It is much, much sweeter. Therefore, once again, can't be used one-to-one. But when people try a minute amount, maybe like a milligram amount of real stevia at my chocolate factory, they are blown away of how overpoweringly sweet that is. So, in this case, the girl is absolutely right. If you consume things like dextrose or maltodextrin or sucralose, aspartame, those things, they will elicit insulin response. But what are they? They're not natural sweeteners. They are chemically made, zero-calorie artificial sweeteners. And the calories and their glycemic index have nothing to do with each other. They may bring no energy, so they are called non-nutritive sweeteners, means they don't bring any nutrition. Once again, why would you consume something that bring nothing good to your body, bring no nutrients, and therefore are called non-nutritive sweeteners? Their glycemic index, more often than not, is higher than glycemic index of sugar. So glycemic index of sugar, white refined sugar, is 100. The glycemic index of dextrose and maltodextrin is 110 and 115, maybe even approaching 120. I have to fact check myself. But all of those non-nutrient sweeteners are in fact more glycemically packed. So they do enter the metabolism and they do elicit the insulin response in order to neutralize them. And calories have nothing to do with that. Then she also showed a monk fruit. Monk fruit is a different animal from stevia. Usually they're being bunched as the same thing, but they're not. Monk fruit is a fruit, not a leaf. Grows in Cambodia and Thailand and in the Asia-Pacific region in general. And those fruits contain another type of fiber. And once again, it's not a carbohydrate, it's not a sugar. The molecule is very different. So that is 320 times sweeter than sugar. So even sweeter than stevia. And because of that, both real organic whole plant stevia and monk fruit needs to be diluted with something, because you need so little to bring the sweetness that humans can comprehend. That amount is very, very small. It's like 1/32 of a teaspoon. It's like literally, if you imagine like 2/8 of an inch kind of like opening, that's how big it is. The 1/32nd part of a teaspoon. It's really not a lot. And so in order to bring that up to the volume, it's usually being diluted in something that is also non-nutritive, non-metabolic, more often than not erythritol. And this is why you would see monk fruit in the raw, and you would see it would says erythritol as the first ingredient and monk fruit as the second ingredient, naturally because the ingredients on the label are being introduced by weight. So the higher the amount of ingredients, the closer it is to the beginning of the label. This is normal. We do it with chocolate all the time. This is why when we make the chocolate, cacao beans are number one ingredient, because in all the chocolate we make, the cacao beans is the most abundant ingredient in the product. So because, once again, what I just said, monk fruit is 320 times sweeter than sugar, in that bag, it may only have a couple of grams of monk fruit diluted in half a pound of erythritol. Is that good? Well, it's not bad. We already know that erythritol is a sugar alcohol, which is, yet again, not a carbohydrate, does not enter metabolism as carbohydrates do, so it does not raise blood sugar levels, doesn't raise insulin. It is nuanced as anything else, because erythritol, more often than not in the United States, is made out of corn, fermenting corn. It's a sugar alcohol, so it's a fermentation product, but it is not a carbohydrate. And if it's not a carbohydrate, it will not enter the metabolism. We do use erythritol for some of our fillings in our chocolate. We get it from Europe. It's also a fermented product, but once again, because it's made in Europe, it's made out of organic apples and pears, which they use to produce erythritol. To me, it's just a cleaner source. First of all, it's organic apples and pears. Second of all, the standard of quality of apples as a raw material versus corn gives just slightly cleaner, better taste. So, going further to the reaction of the video of the guy who says, no, she's completely incorrect. So I don't think she's completely incorrect, but she is incorrect. So not every sugar alternative will cause an insulin response. A lot of them will, and all of the non-chemicals, artificial sweeteners will, in fact, cause an insulin response. The natural, unprocessed sweeteners such as inulin, whether it comes from chicory or if it comes from agave, that's a probiotic and a fiber. Stevia, organic, whole plant, from leaves and stalks of the plant, unprocessed, will not raise blood glucose levels. Not to be confused with the stevia that is sold in the store as white. Stevia should be green. It's a plant. End of story. We can rest it at that. Monk fruit will not raise blood sugar levels if it is, in fact, a whole, pulverized, unprocessed monk fruit mixed in with erythritol or xylitol or any other sugar alcohol that just brings the serves kind of as a bulking agent. You can actually make it at home. You can buy pure monk fruit and get a probiotic sweetener such as inulin and mix monk fruit into inulin. It's not commercially available, but you can make it in your own kitchen. So you can create a metabolically friendly sweetener right in the comfort of your own home, and that would be something that you can do. So let's look at the response. The guy says, oh no, all of this meta-analysis, which I haven't looked at, but if you're interested, leave us a comment below and let me know if you want me to do in fact look at all of the meta-analysis and create an episode to make sense of everything that was said. He says, oh no, in fact, this study said that consuming the diet drinks, first of all, I think that he created a logical fallacy in the very beginning. First, he was talking about non-nutritive sweeteners, and then he went to calories. The fact that those sweeteners bring 0 calories have nothing to do with how metabolically active or inactive they are. They can bring no calories, but they can still elicit the insulin response. And this is where I think his logical fallacy is lying. But he said that consuming those non-nutritive sweeteners, 0-calorie sweeteners, actually made people lose weight rather than gain weight. Well, I have a problem with that because we all live in reality, right? And we all can trust our eyes. And trusting our eyes, we saw that in the last 50 years, since those nutrients started to get a market share in the scene, people just got progressively more overweight, more chronically sick, more metabolically dysfunctional. That means that there's in no reality where we all live in, including that doctor, did we see thinner, healthier people when they were consuming the artificial chemical non-nutritive sweeteners, whether it's in Diet Coke or anything else. But once again, if you want me to go read that study, that meta-analysis, and create an episode that makes sense of it, let me know in the comments below, and we'll definitely do it. Now, my final takeaway from that. We have a wonderful technology called continuous glucose monitor. Now it became so accessible, you can actually get it without a prescription over the counter. The sensor that I use is called Dexcom Stelo, but there are a number of others. You can see it on my hands for those who are watching this as a video. It's a tiny sensor right over here. And if you have that, it will show you on the app in real time what spikes your blood sugar level and what doesn't. And therefore, you can stop believing influencers on Instagram or even doctors, because doctors are not always very informed either. And you can start being empowered to believing your own eyes. And then I would get a lot less questions like that in my DM. It's like, hey, Beata, what do you think of that? Who's right? Who's wrong? Because as you can see in this situation, 2 people commenting on the same thing can both be wrong equally. But what we want is to put power back in your hands and give the information to you, because we believe that consumers and people are very smart, and they can get down to exactly what's bothering them, and they need to believe their own eyes. And that's what continuous glucose monitor technology will enable you to do. Thank you for being with us through this reaction video. Next week, we're gonna talk about future of foods, different new trends in foods, in snacking, where's the field going. So if that would be interesting to you, come back, and in the meantime, come check us out at sinlesstreetschocolate.com, or if you're local in Houston, come visit our chocolate factory at 5400 Bel Air Boulevard and try things that will not spike your blood sugar level. And if you wear a continuous glucose monitor, you can see that. Thank you, and stay healthy.